With me watching over 50 different animes and with all the different varieties out there with new gen, old gen, classics, you have so many different types of anime. But this one right here has to be one of the craziest animes I've ever watched. In 2025, I went a little bit into the past and I had to watch My Future Diary. It is pretty much a focus on Yuki and this girl named Yuno, and it is the craziest anime I have seen all year long. As we dive deep into this, I mean, the opening itself is very strange. It is set in modern times, but not like in 2025. It's around where technology is being used by flip phones, and the world feels slightly off. But hey, let's get straight into it. So as we jump in, we meet Yukitaro Amano, aka Yuki. He's a middle schooler, a loner who's completely checked out from society. And instead of dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, he journals. And he doesn't journal with a traditional pen and paper. He does it with his outdated flip phone. Yeah, I'm that old too. Well, when there's nothing going on in your life and school is very boring, journaling, home, repeat, every single day, you start to fall inside of this habit. Well, one day on his way home, he continues to journal on his phone and things take a very wild turn. Yuki stumbles into another dimension. So he thinks that he's in some type of dream state. He's hanging out in his bedroom under the covers. And when he stumbles into this other dimension, he meets Deuce Ex Machina, a horrific looking demigod. And he just assumes it's a figment of his imagination. Well, spoiler, he's not. And Deuce, he's got big, chaotic, world altering plans for Yuki. So as we enter in the first stage of Future Diary game, there are 12 players, there are 12 diaries. Each one can predict the future in a different way. For instance, Yuki, his diary logs everything that's happening around him, essentially making him an observer of fate. Yuno, which is the number two and the co-lead and arguably the most insane character of all time, has a diary that predicts everything about Yuki. You see where I'm going with this? He can predict fate and she can see what's going on. And it just so happens she can see everything that's going to happen with Yuki 15 minutes prior. But here's the catch. The future isn't always set in stone. If one player takes action, the outcome will change. That means strategy, manipulation, and a whole lot of death. Because, yeah, this game is going full blown battle royale style. And the winner of this game, get to become a god. Sounds cool, right? Well, it's not. It gets darker and darker. I'm talking murder upon murder. People getting axed, blown up, beheaded, shot with darts, and this happens every single episode. In the middle of this whole entire disaster, dead set is Yuno, arguably the most obsessive, terrifying, and unhinged yandere in anime history. She's not just protecting Yuki, she's eliminating anyone who even looks at him the wrong way. Another wild part, these two end up falling in love, quote unquote. These two are an unstoppable duo. Their diaries are perfectly in sync and they complement each other, making them borderline undebeatable. Now, the deeper we go, the more that we find out, we see that Yuno's biggest enemy is herself. Every single episode throws you for a doozy, so make sure you sit down and you pay attention. It is dark, it is manipulative, and it is very a psychological thriller. By episode 6, things start to get very crazy. After a brutal massacre, Yuki's mom unknowingly takes in a child survivor, right? Wrong. This kid is cute. The kid's name is Ray. And guess what? He is another diary holder and wastes no time trying to kill Yuki. We're talking within 15 minutes of the episode. But you got to remember, he has his guardian angel. Or is it his devil? That being Yuno. And she is ready to gut this little psycho like a fish. No hesitation, no mercy. That's how Yuno gets down when it comes to her man. That's only the beginning. As we progress through the episode, we see how far Yuno is willing to go. Later on, she isolates Yuki from anyone and everyone. She is killing cops. She is killing his new friends and straight up drugging and kidnapping him. At one point, she ties him up, takes him to an abandoned factory. So now the two of them are all alone together. So in her mind, this is a great plan because she's quote unquote keeping him safe. But let's be real. Yuno is another level of crazy. And us being the audience, we don't get to see that until further on in the series. It is crazy. She has one of the craziest quotes, one of the scariest, most manipulative quotes I have ever heard. She tells him, just pretend to love me and I will do anything for you. Now, that is some foreshadowing. That is some next level obsession. And by the end of the series, you'll understand how crazy that actual quote from her is. With such a great show, There's spoilers left and right, so here comes a few. Turns out, our main character, and I do say main because this is going around Yukki being an innocent little middle schooler, but steals the show. So here's your warning. Turns out she's already played this game and she has won once before. This is her second playthrough or second time living. She has become a god, but her last dying wish was to have more time with Yukki. So what did she do? She became a god and she reset the game. That's right. Let me say it again. She reset the entire timeline just to be with Yukki again. And in the second run, she's trying to perfect everything to make sure that nothing goes wrong. But slowly but surely, our quote unquote main character, Yukki, starts placing and piecing things together. Then does the unthinkable. This is her second run through. She ends up killing her past self. So this is where it starts to get a little into the woods. This is Yuno's second run. Okay. During her first run, she killed everybody and became a god. On round number 2, she comes to her future self. So I'm going to call her Yuno number 2 and murders her. That is obsession. That is insanity. And it is biblical writing. And Yukki, he's caught in the middle of it. He's just a normal kid who gets caught in the middle of this shit. She manipulated him. She has isolated him and even convinced him to kill 4 of his closest friends. After being in isolate this whole time, she gets inside of his mind and doesn't want him around anybody. And despite all that, she's the only person who's truly been there for him. In the final stretch, as we close in on the last few episodes, we see that this is a straight up multiverse. We're talking interstellar levels of mind-bending chaos. World 2 ends because Yuno again becomes the god. So what do you think happens? Yukki goes into this time travel where he ends up in World 3. Now he is trying to stop Yuno, who is from World 2, who already killed Yuno from World 1. And now she is trying to erase the future so she can have more time with Yukki. She is going to do this over and over again so she can keep replaying this game forever. She wants to win so she can reset it so she can be with Yukki. It is a lot and it is dense. But as the timelines are overlapping, realities are colliding, and if you don't pay attention, you will get lost. This could have been stretched out into more episodes, and honestly, they did kind of rush it, but it's okay. It's all right. Things happen. I get it. And then, when you just think that this season can't get any crazier, it does. Episode 23, 24, 25, and 26 is just nutty. Yuno creates an alternative reality where she never existed. So this is World 3. And in this world, she put Yukki in there. So Yukki does not have to quote unquote die. In this alternative world that she created, talking about Yuno number 2 now, she puts it so that Yukki has loving parents, he has a normal life, and even has another girl who genuinely does love and care about him. Because Yuno is a god and she can create that. But destiny doesn't wait for anybody. There is something that is pulling to Yukki. He knows that he needs to fight harder and harder to get out of this false reality. Yukki also, he can't let go of Yuno. No matter what reality they're in, they're drawn to each other. And Yuno, subconsciously, she feels it too. So, just as they're about to reunite, she does again another ace up her sleeve. She kills herself. Yuno version 2 kills herself to restore order. She then resets the timeline one last time, erasing herself. So the original Yuno killed Yuno from World 2. She was trying to kill Yuno from World 3, but she ends up killing herself, resetting the first 2 timelines, and Yuno from World 3 continues to go on. Yukki goes back to his world, which is World 3, and just like that, the game is over. So technically, on paper, Yukki wins by default. He doesn't actually defeat Yuno, but Yukki wins by default, and he becomes a god. And what does he do with his newfound omnipotence? Nothing. He sits there. For 10,000 years, he sits alone in an empty void, just missing and thinking about Yuno. That's the ending. This anime is insane. The storytelling, the twist, the sheer depth of Yuno's obsession, it's just completely on another level. Whether you love her, whether you fear her, you can't ignore her and you have to respect her. Future Diary isn't just a survival game. It's not just a survival anime. It's a psychological nightmare. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So that is my Future Diary, the craziest anime with the craziest character of 2025. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see y'all down in the comments. I'll let y'all in the next one.